gentlemen, welcome back to the Rear Wing Report on the shores of the Caspian Sea at the F1 race, where nothing but everything happened at the same exact time. The Rear Wing Report is here to break it all down and tell you what it means, if it means anything, and what the meaning of life is. And for that, we go to the one, the only, the professorial Ryan McHugh.
Hey, everybody. How are we doing? Glad to be back. What a race indeed. Nothing happened, but stuff happened. I mean, yeah.
Stranger things have happened.
Stranger things have happened. But you asked me earlier today, what'd you think of the race? And I just didn't comment on it whatsoever. I wasn't very talkative earlier in my defense. But
yeah, you were Oscar Piastri, man.
Yeah, I was avoiding the media being you today, but yeah, I didn't really have any comments on it because I was just sitting there going, honestly, I expected more because it just seemed like there were things to watch, yeah, but overall I was not really amused by this weekend.
Oh, you were not amused?
Well, amused, yes, that's a wrong way to put it, but I don't know. I don't really know how to describe it.
Were you entertained?
I was entertained, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think part of it was after qualifying gave us such chaos, right?
Yeah.
We then had nothing really for the most part in
other than lap one,
the actual race.
Yeah,
but I mean, even that, like yeah, it was lap one, and then nothing really after that. Like, yeah, it had a dust up between was it Bortoletto and Albon, I think. I can't remember who it was, but I apologize. But just not a whole lot happened. Like Mac, it kind of unfolded almost the exact way that we thought it would. It was a very much a race that was done on strategy. The one stop really kind of hurts everything. You know, like we saw it with a lot of the strategies that the teams had. My favorite being Esteban Ocon. We're not really going to spend a lot of time on Haas, so maybe we ignore the rundown that I made, and we kick off the race with Esteban Ocon doing the most Haas of things, where Oscar Piastri, which we'll get into later, has his just worst Grand Prix of his career so far. And Ocon goes around, goes into the pits, switches from hards to mediums, goes one lap on the mediums, comes into the pits, goes back onto the hards, and then does the rest of the race on the hards. But it's just like, if you can go, what is that, 49 laps? If you can go 49 laps on some hard tires, then we need to fix the hard tire.
Yeah. I mean, he finished P14.
Yeah.
Which is just crazy.
It was track position, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and he started last after he was disqualified from qualifying due to rear wing deflection testing failure.
0.5 millimeters under the load, by the way.
0.5 millimeters. It's quite a bit.
Yeah. On the left side, it was about 0.6.
Yeah. But I mean, like, they were talking about how, like, that type of deflection failure could result in, like, 8 to 10 kilometers an hour, depending on where you are.
Yeah.
I don't know if I buy that, but, they being the Twitter pundits, but I digress.
Yeah. I mean, you make a good point, too, because, like, in terms of Baku, just the track in general should wear down the tires a lot. So I think maybe we do need to start having that conversation about these compounds that we're running each weekend.
I just don't know what else you can do besides, like, because they brought the C6, C5, and the C4.
Yeah,
like,
it's not out of the ordinary.
Do you make, well, I mean, the new C6 is being the softest, so they moved everything one step softer than last year, but it still wasn't even close. So it was just like, all right, yeah, I can go forever. So I don't know. I get what you're saying. You weren't amused, but someone who was highly amused is our winner of the day, Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
What'd you make of this race?
Yeah, I was honestly, why I said I took it back and said, like, I was entertained was because of Verstappen. I mean, it was a great weekend. I mean, the stars just aligned for him, right? Like he converted from pole, right? The hard tire was the right kind of gamble to go with. And, if I'm Laurent Mekies, I'm very happy, and I'm going to continue doing the best strategy that's possible. Listen to what Max Verstappen has to say. There was a lot of talk throughout the this weekend that ever since Mekies has pretty much taken over, Marco pretty much said, we're just kind of listening to the input that Max Verstappen has to say, and that's kind of just the direction that we're taking the car. And maybe they should have done that a little bit earlier, but I mean, he's making the car better and he's making it faster. So I don't know if he's necessarily surprised. I think if you go back to Max Verstappen, what was it now, a month and a half ago, and he says, I'm not going to win a race ever again, he wouldn't really believe that he's in the position that he's at. He even stirred up
that was a lie.
Yeah, he even stirred up the Twitter world this morning with people going, is it possible for Max Verstappen to catch Oscar Piastri? Statistically, mathematically, it is possible.
I saw somebody do the breakdown. They were like, okay,
it was
Max needs to win every race. Oscar needs to get P3 in 2 races and second in all of the rest of the races. And then Max is the world champion.
Yeah.
I mean, it could happen if
crazier things have happened.
Forgot how to drive.
I don't know if anything crazier than that has happened, honestly, but
yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be the craziest thing to ever happen in the world of sports, but it would be one of the craziest, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Leicester City winning the Premier League might be the craziest thing. If you put $5 down on that, I think you won like $25,000. So, but
what did you think, though?
I thought he had a great race. Obviously, like, hot take, Max Verstappen, good at F1.
Crazy.
Yeah, but he was just never really challenged after the first corner, right? Mm-hmm. I think it was by the time not lap 2. Was it lap 6 when the safety car came in? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, he restarts that brilliantly, and I watched Carlos Sainz on board of the restart, and Sainz is like, he's weaving with them, and then he's weaving when Verstappen isn't, and then he stops, and he's going close to Verstappen, and he's just going in a straight line, and he's just waiting, and Verstappen starts weaving again, warming up the tires, and then he waits until Sainz starts to weave and points his front wing at the wall, and then as soon as he does that, Verstappen drops the hammer and goes. And it was just like, okay, textbook restart, like, phenomenal, making sure that Sainz isn't getting a tow, and he was just out of there. Like, I don't think any part of it was particularly hard. He just kind of was in control the entire time. You heard GP just be like, hey, just keep it under control, keep eking out, a little bit more space each time. This is good pace. Just keep doing what you're doing. Like, you didn't really hear anything from them the entire time. Instead, all of our focus was on the midfield battle, and can Lando Norris claw his way back up into better points. And Verstappen was just there in every lap. Oh, hey, he pulled out another half a second. He pulled out a quarter second. Oh, hey, on lap 50 of 51, he had the fastest lap of the race. Like, come on.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I even saw clips of Verstappen in F3 and like his restarts. So I was watching some of those earlier. Yeah, I mean, he could teach a master class on how to do a safety car restart. I mean, it was methodical, but yeah, I mean, it was super intelligent, and it just shows why he's the best driver. All the memes started popping back up today of going, oh, we have the fastest car, but oh, we have Max Verstappen, And it just seems like it's never, whenever he wins these weekends, like, he's not even the main headline, right? Like, there's always something else being reported above him, but.
Yeah, and I think, like, you go back to qualifying, and you look at the times between Q1 and Q2 and, and Q3, and, like, usually you get, like, this improvement. Hey, Q1 time, okay, the rubber starts to come in, Q2's faster, the end of Q2 is faster than the beginning of Q2, and then Q3, like, hey, you want to be the last person out on track. And if you look at the times, that didn't really happen for anybody except really for Max Verstappen, who's kind of able to pull out, I think, another like 10th and a half.
Yeah.
And so it's just at every point in time where everybody else was struggling, he was kind of just picture perfect. But yeah, I mean, through no fault of his own, he is not the highlight of the weekend whatsoever. Like, there's 5 different things that I thought about putting on the rundown before Max Verstappen,
Yeah.
which I think speaks to his dominance at the same time. It's just like, all right, ho hum, good job.
We would be remiss not to mention him, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the man has his own theme song.
Yeah. When you have other people's fans chanting your name when you're on the podium, that's pretty impressive. That means you're a pretty dang good driver.
Hot take once again.
Crazy take.
Yeah. But you know who else has their own theme song?
Who?
Smooth operator. Smooth. All right, that's all we can do. A, I can't sing, and B, we don't want to get copyrighted. But we had Carlos Sainz. So Sainz qualifies in second and finishes third in the race, passed only by my pick for third in the race, which was the Russell Hustle.
Yeah.
Georgie Russ. Clawed his way back from the possible dead and finished second in the race. What did you make of their race and their battle?
I mean, overall, I was impressed by both. You know, Sainz just being able to hold really good pace, and even though he's ended up behind, George Russell after he pitted, he still maintained a gap, and he took a little bit of a undercut risk at a certain point. So after a stop, you could see him in clean air. He's keeping up with good pace and was able to conserve his tires and just put himself where he needed to be. So, I mean, if I could give anybody my driver of the day, it would be Carlos Sainz. I mean, I would just already get to that today. Just from qualifying front row, he was composed. He defended against pressure other than, George Russell. But, I mean, what a huge morale boost for Williams.
Yeah, I mean, massive morale boost for them. And it looked like he was going to have a chance for second. Russell pitted on lap 39. And even their radio message was like, hey, you're going to come out behind Sainz.
Yeah.
And he had a 2.3 second pit stop. He spent 19.89 seconds in the pit lane total and then rejoined just ahead of Sainz. And I think that if he comes out behind, then
I think Sainz stays ahead then.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been, it was difficult to pass, but yeah, like on lap 39, his race engineer goes, and now we've got Tsunoda in the pit lane. So George will be box this lap, 1 second behind Sainz on exit. Preset, different entry, different motor. I don't know. Diff entry, diff mid. And then on lap 40, Russell gets ahead of Sainz, like rejoins ahead. And Dudley goes, overtake available on exit. Watch the white lines. Russell, I thought you said they'd be a second behind. Yeah, it was a very good pit stop. Gap 1.7 behind. So they went from thinking they were going to be 1 second behind Sainz to being 2.7 seconds. It was a 2.7 second difference. They were 1.7 seconds ahead of him. It's just wild. And I think that it just kind of showed like the pacing and the wind and everything else, like really kind of screwed with people, and made it a difficult race to pass and a difficult race to kind of predict where people were going to be, because Sainz had decently fresh tires. I believe he pitted on lap 27. So, I mean, he had 12 lap old tires. It wasn't like they were ancient at that point in time. Right. So it's not that big of a difference. But how big is this of a finish for Williams, though?
I mean, it's huge. I mean, I saw it was a post from James Fowles, actually, and he was like, I cannot wait to bring this trophy in on Monday and like just celebrate with the whole team. I mean, this is huge. They were fighting just a few years ago. They're fighting for the last place on the grid. And now they're up here and they're getting on podiums, and they've had a really decent season already, Yeah, things started off really well and things started to kind of maybe decline a little bit, but they're sitting pretty comfortably in P5 right now in the constructor standings. They're almost 30 points clear of the Racing Bulls. They're 171 points behind Red Bull, but yeah, like they're better than 5 other teams on the grid. So I think it's absolutely massive for them. And like a shout out to Carlos Sainz just in general. Like he was just like, people are calling me lucky. Like after my qualifying, like I kind of like that he was being a little cocky in in the media after the race, and he's just like, I did a great job in Q3. I had the second best lap, other than Verstappen, who we just know is going to be, a few tenths faster than us no matter what. He's like, that's not luck, and like I proved it today because I kept that good pace. So, I mean, yeah, it's huge for them, and I think it's even bigger for Carlos Sainz. Like it seemed like he needed this moment for a while this season, and like he got it now.
Yeah, it's the first time since 2016 they've had at least 100 points in a season. They still have 7 races to go.
You know who he has more podiums than?
Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, in a Ferrari.
Yeah.
So pretty dang impressive, right?
Yeah, I mean it was a perfect weekend from them in terms of maximizing his points. I think they're going to have to be frustrated though. You had Sainz, and it seems like they've done this almost the entire year, where they have one car, that when the car is set up right, is scoring points, but they should be maximizing their points and having, okay, maybe you're not getting them both on the podium. I think that might be a bit of a stretch, but a third and a fourth, third and a fifth, right? Even like third and sixth, like that's high quality points. Yeah. And I think you got to feel like it's a missed opportunity in that sense for Albon to be starting P19.
Yeah.
So if you add in another, 6 points for Albon, even with just a basic finish, then you're looking at 107 points for the Williams, and the Racing Bulls would get knocked down to 70. So, I mean, you can almost kind of seal it up at that point in time. But I think that's the next step for them, is how do we maximize our race weekends and, make sure that both cars are where they need to be, because it just has not happened this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Every time Alex Albon does well, you see Carlos Sainz in the same spot that Albon was this week, and they just kind of teeter around that. Hey, one car's maybe going to get a 5th place to like a 9th place. The other one's going to get like a 13th to a 15th. So yeah, I would absolutely agree. That's the next step that they got to take. But one other interesting battle that we saw on the grid was good old Yuki Tsunoda and Liam Lawson. The fight is back on after the driver swap earlier in the season. What did you think of their race against one another?
The fight is over. Like it's done and dusted. It's been written. There's nothing left. Like Yuki Tsunoda, I feel bad for him, but at the same time, like he got what he wanted, and this is a life lesson that maybe sometimes what you want isn't what you need. But Lawson pits on lap 20.
Get what you want.
Please don't sing anymore, because that copyright is very expensive. And Tsunoda pits on lap 38. So it's an 18 lap tire delta at that point in time. And Lawson Tsunoda comes out directly in front of Lawson, and then Lawson makes the pass, I think in turn 2 or turn 3. I cannot remember which turn it was, but I mean, he made the pass right away. Like, hey, he's got cold tires. I got to get this done. I think if he doesn't get down and past him, then he's not getting past. But then from that point on, like they even said in the commentary, Lawson's not really defending. He's just driving on the racing line, and the wind and the dirty air and everything else combined made it so that like Tsunoda couldn't pass. Norris had a difficult time passing anybody as well. I mean, he starts 8th, or did he start 7th? I can't remember. I apologize. But either way, almost nobody could pass anybody at this point in time. And like, yeah, Norris started 7th. He finished 7th. And so anyways, now that we've got that out of the way, if he didn't pass Sonoda there, then he's not getting past him. But then he just had a mini DRS train behind him. Like,
Yeah.
You got Lawson finishes, I think it's like 12 seconds behind Kimi Antonelli. And then you have like 3 cars all within a second of Lawson until Hamilton slows down to unsuccessfully, I might add, try to let Charles Leclerc repass him for 8th place. And if he hadn't done that, it would have been 4 cars. Like, he did a great job. And I think that if you're Red Bull, how do you look at it and go, unless their only thought is, hey, we cannot ruin another driver with a car that's this hard to drive. Let's just put Tsunoda in there for one more year. But then what do you do with, Arthur Lindblad and everybody else that you have coming up through the system? So I think it's done and dusted. Tsunoda sealed his fate and Lawson sealed his fate. Lawson's coming back to the Red Bulls or to Visa Cash App, my bad.
Yeah.
And Tsunoda will find his merry way to, I don't know, maybe be another reserve driver for Cadillac, be a Sauber reserve driver. But I just highly impressed with Lawson. Didn't put a foot wrong the entire time. And it's so funny, like watching them go down that straight. Everybody's got their rear wing open and he's just putting it along and no one can do anything about it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you on everything. I think Liam Lawson ran a great race. I think both of them, this is what Yuki Tsunoda needed, but he needed to do this 10 weeks ago, or 10 races ago when he had his opportunity to impress. And now it's like, hey, yeah, great job. You're actually scoring points this week, or you're scoring more than one, right? Yeah, Liam Lawson did a great job. Tsunoda had that tire differential that benefited him, but in the end, he still was able to pull off that defense, and especially in like the closing laps, and like where they really made up for it is Lawson made up a ton of time in sector 3. They were super quick on the pit lane. Well, not the pit lane, you know what I'm saying? The pit lane straight.
Yep.
And he was just able to maintain that little gap and run that train right back behind him. So, yeah, I mean, he had to defend with older tires, and he also had like that little moment where Antonelli slipped past him, but he's able to gain back that little position. So he maintained like a good defensive posture the entire time. But yeah, I mean, for Yuki Tsunoda, it's like, hey, maybe we could have pushed harder. Like at a certain point, Yuki Tsunoda's engineer says like, you need to pick up the pace. Like, which can be a lot of things. It could just be saying, hey, I know you're milking your tires a little bit right now. Push. But usually that means push. And they just said, hey, pick up the pace a little bit. Which I was just like, that's kind of interesting. So I think it's also a positive for him. It's his best result since moving his role. And, but yeah, I mean, that threat of him losing his seat is over because it's over. We already kind of know that, well, allegedly, that Isaac Hadjar is going to be filling that Red Bull seat.
Yeah. Woof. Just woof. Again, I feel bad for him, but it's his best result. He got 6th place. His teammate won by almost 15 seconds. And it would have been 15 seconds if he wasn't just kind of weaving his way, doing a little celebration down the straight. Like, I think on lap 50, the gap was like 15.4 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, come on. I will say, I know we're going to take a break here in a second, but I would say it was really interesting kind of watching like the first 10 to 15 laps unfold, even after the safety car, because you had what seemed like 4 distinct races going on. You had Max Verstappen, and Carlos Sainz was kind of out there with him, and Liam Lawson fell off pretty quick and wasn't maintaining that pace. And Sainz was kind of making Verstappen work for it. Never really a threat, but I mean, he was hanging around. Hey, I'm within a second and a half. I'm within 2.5. safety car happens. I got to make you think about it, etc. And then you had like this 3rd through like 5th battle. Then you had like 6th through 9th or 10th. And then you just had everybody else. And it was just like,
Yeah.
no one could move. And it was really weird because you had all these cars that were out of position. And like Lewis Hamilton looked like he was driving a car with a tractor trailer behind it. I was just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And he's right there. And it's just like, I can't make the pass. I can't make the pass. Oh, I finally made the pass. And then it's like, I'm still stuck in the DRS train. You know,
Yeah.
It's like driving down I-94 on Memorial Day weekend. And it's like, all right, cool. I passed a car. There's a billion cars in front of me. I'm going nowhere.
Right.
No. Buddy, what do you say we take a quick break and we come back and we talk a little McLaren?
Let's do that. I'm excited.
I think the real question is, if you could only bring one candy to a desert island, what candy are you bringing? You get unlimited amount of that candy, though.
What kind of what is like the biome of this island? Did you say tropical island?
Yeah, it's a we'll go tropical island. I said desert island, but we'll go tropical
desert.
island.
Okay.
Tropical island, it's fine.
Well, you can't go chocolate then because you can't have chocolate in the heat like that. It's gonna make your
somewhere in the South Pacific.
Okay. Unpopular take here, maybe, but sweet tart ropes.
That's insane.
What? Why is that insane? Have you ever had a sweet tart rope?
I have had a sweet tart rope, but just not what I expected you to say.
It's refreshing. It's fruity, right? It kind of makes you feel a little hydrated after you consume just a bunch of grams of sugar. What would be yours?
So my first answer was Swedish fish, but
Ooh.
I don't like that answer because it's just one. I only do the one flavor, and I don't like that. Like,
is there multi? Oh, I thought you meant like there's multiple.
Those are not. There are multiple flavors. There's like the mixed flavors. I don't like that. But I think that my other thought process on it was if you get the big Swedish fish, not the small ones, or you get the medium-sized ones, they're sticky enough and gummy enough. You might be able to kind of chew them up. I have an unlimited supply. I can eventually make it into a raft.
I was like, where are you going with this? That is the last thing I expected you to say. Yeah, that's a great idea.
My Swedish fish raft and
my sweet tart ropes.
Your sweet tart ropes that I can fashion into sails. We're getting off that island in no time.
Hey, I wouldn't want to be stuck on an island with anybody but you.
Oh, thanks, man. You know who was stuck on an island this weekend, though?
Who's that?
Your boy, Oscar Piastri.
Everybody's my boy to you, huh?
Yes, 100%. But he was stuck on an island of suck. It was awful. It was bad.
Yeah, I mean, just the entire weekend was bad. I mean, just qualifying didn't work out well. Qualifies 9th after he has a catastrophic qualifying just in general, and then just a terrible beginning to the race. He jumped the start and had like the anti-stall activate on it. Locks up at which crazy thing here. Oscar Piastri passed more people during the race than Lando Norris. And he did it by turn 5. He did it by turn 5, which is just wild. But yeah, he just locks up at turn 5, just sends it straight into the barrier. I mean, just a lost opportunity to score more points. Yeah, I mean, 2 times at 2 different spots. I think it was like turn 8 or something like that for qualifying. I don't know. You'd have to fact check me on that, but that's a lot of research to be doing this late at night. But yeah, I mean, it was a lost opportunity. He could have been able to add some more points because Lando Norris didn't end up going anywhere either. But he would have gotten stuck in that same train. You know, like it's not like anything too wild would have happened even if he was in the race. But like, yeah, I mean, you never want that to happen if you're the leader of the Drivers' Championship. But it was rough. But I do respect it because it cashed in a safety car for me.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fair. That's fair. My quick Google search results looks like it was turn 3.
Turn 3. Oh, okay, it was earlier than I thought then.
Yeah, I thought it was later as well, but I'm not watching the video right now, so we'll see. But yeah, I think that for him it's a lost weekend. But the weird thing about it is that he basically got away with it, like almost scot-free. Like, think about this: the normal McLaren 1-2, he loses 7 points if he comes in second.
Yeah,
he didn't even finish lap 1, and he only lost 6 points.
Yeah, that's crazy.
which leads us into, and the last thing I'll say about him is, like, it just seemed like he never really had the pace for 95% of the weekend. The one time I felt like he did have pace was at the end of Q2 when I texted you and said, I think he's going to actually get pole. And then he must have seen it and was like, let's
not do that.
Yeah. And then immediately he's like, I know, let's use the car as a battering ram to make this circuit a little bit wider. So, overall a terrible weekend for him. But like Lando Norris, his championship rival, his teammate, can't do darn near anything the entire race. He can't improve on his qualifying time, which I don't really fault him for. Like I said, it was really weird looking at the track evolution and de-evolution. Sainz nails it, goes out early, gets that lap in. And then when everybody else goes out and Piastri crashes, Sainz hadn't gone out. He was still in the garage. So he didn't waste any of his tires, and he was able to go again. But everybody else was caught out. So I don't really necessarily blame Lando there, but come on, man. It's a golden opportunity for you. And he's saying, like, oh, I'm not even focused on that. I'm just trying to maximize the weekend. But you didn't maximize the weekend.
You should be focusing on that during the weekend, too. Yeah. I mean, when in doubt, blame it on a pit stop, right?
Oh, my God.
That's the way to go. He had that little front right issue at the pit stop that cost him some time, but yeah, I mean, after the race, he's going, the pace was really not amazing. I struggled to even keep up with Yuki Tsunoda. Like, I was just like, is that a sly at Yuki Tsunoda? Like, it definitely was. But he was just like, we're not quick this weekend. But it's just like, hey, we have to try to do everything we can in order to pull off and try to gain some points back from crashing out of a race a few weeks ago, right? Just not a good result from Norris, just in general, I think. Like, it's like, you weren't really going to go anywhere, but just like, it took longer than, your pit stop took longer than, I think, 4.1 seconds or something like that.
4.1.
And he dropped to a lot of people, and he lost time, and that did play into him being unable to challenge people higher up. And honestly, even if that 4.1 seconds, because I don't think he would have gotten past Yuki because of that time differential. Would he have?
He should have gotten past Yuki. Like, he should have.
Yeah.
If the pit stop goes according to the time that it should, I believe he should have gotten past Yuki. But like, that's the thing though, is like the race also happens out on the track. Like, Norris pits on lap 37, Tsunoda pits on lap 38. And so, okay, did you have a bad outlap? Like, what happened?
Yeah.
But I think there was just so little tire wear. And again, just such a strange race. Like, everybody's strategy, besides Ocon and Haas, was let's just wait as long as we can. And then if no safety car comes and we have to switch tires, then we'll switch.
Yeah.
You see it, like, Pierre Gasly, which not a factor in this race, right? Poor Pierre was one of the few people that Piastri did pass on his first 5 turns, but he pits on lap 35. Then Hamilton, Hulkenberg, Norris, Stroll, Sonoda, Russell, and Verstappen all pit between lap 36 and lap 40. And it's just like they weren't losing any time.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're just like, all right, fine, we'll do it. And then Verstappen could have kept going, but he's like, hey, you know what? I'll just cover off Russell and I'll make sure that, there's no threat of any safety car and me having like a weird result at that point in time. But he was able to just sit there and kind of bide his time. So I don't necessarily fault Norris as much as I do Piastri for the bad weekend, but it's just a lack of qualifying, and it showed you how important qualifying was this weekend. You just couldn't move anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, overall, Piastri's going to have to bounce back after this weekend. Just a bad Saturday, a bad Sunday. Things just didn't look good. But one bad mistake doesn't mean that his season's killed or anything like that. But his margin for error does shrink a little bit. Yeah, 6 points is 6 points, but you have to be able to bounce back pretty quickly after a weekend like this. But yeah, I mean, even for Lando too, being able to capitalize is even more crucial. Like every point is more vital now. So he, in reality, probably couldn't have gone any farther than he did after qualifying, but it just makes it that more important later on in the season.
Yeah, I mean, 7 races left. He's down 25 points. He needs to make 4 points a race, just under 4 points a race, which, I mean, you can do, but it's gonna be difficult. Especially if Max Verstappen is pipping first place all the time.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But yeah, at least they're not Ferrari.
Yeah.
What in the wide world of 19 different expletives was that?
I mean,
like, what was your reaction to the Ferrari race?
Is it? I mean, it's probably not the proper way to use this right now, but the point of them racing was pretty moot. Like it was so quiet. Like, yeah, they started further back and they're trying to just play the damage control game, but their attempts to be able to get past other people other than each other was very minimal. So Leclerc tried to pass Norris like really late, but didn't even have nearly enough pace to actually be able to capitalize on that moment whatsoever. So, I mean, a bad weekend for Ferrari, and like clearly like what needs to happen with Ferrari is quality. Like qualifying is where it all starts with them. I mean, we've seen it for the past few weeks now. It's like, hey, we're some of the best during FP1 and 2, right? And FP3. But when we get to quality, we just can't do anything. Can't do anything. They need to fix their qualifying pace, and they need to focus on the race strategy. It's the same things over and over again that have been problems the entire season that continuously haunts them. And yeah, like both of the drivers are off the pace, like relative to who you would consider their rivals. Like, Hamilton probably would have finished within a second of Norris. But Leclerc was back there, and hey, we managed to pull off 2 seconds ahead of Isaac Hadjar. And we are 3 seconds behind Liam Lawson and 15 seconds behind Kimi Antonelli, right? Like, that's where you should be at. You should be up there with the Mercedes, and you're 24 seconds behind George Russell. So, yeah, I mean, it's just bad. It's just bad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand what they're doing to look so fast in FP1 and 2 and 3, like you said, and then just look lost in qualifying. And Hamilton took issue with some of the qualifying strategies that they had, and he gets left out and qualifies in P12. And it's just like, you look like you have no clue. I don't know if they're messing with the setup over the weekend and trying to fine tune it, but it seems like the car just goes away from them on most weekends as the weekend goes along.
Yeah.
So it's almost like if I'm a Ferrari fan, I'm almost hoping that we're like in, 19th and 20th with pace in FP1. And it's like, all right, we can't go any further down. Maybe they'll screw it up and go in the positive direction. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And, they say, oh, well, our pace wasn't good, is what Hamilton says after qualifying. It's like, your pace was 1 and 2 in, free practice 2. Like, you topped the timesheet. Like, what are you talking about? So, and he thinks it was the tire choice that cost him time. He said that he was chosen to run medium in Q2, and he kept the medium tires on, and he disagreed with that. And he thought that, the setup and the feel weren't as good because of the tire issue. Like, I don't know. Because I was on the back foot with only 2 mediums, with thinking of having 2 mediums in Q3 when you've got to get to Q3 first. Like, yes, you do have to get to Q3 first, but you're also Lewis Hamilton. Figure it out. Like,
yeah.
And you've had all these notes that you're giving everybody else. Ultimately, just say, no, I'm not doing that. I think it's a weak move to put it on the team instead of just owning it yourself. But
yeah, absolutely.
Do Ferrari finish on the podium again?
Who?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No.
Wondering out loud.
Maybe once or twice more, if anything. I think, there's always ample opportunity for them to show some more growth. So, it all just depends on what happens in the next few races. But yeah, my problem with it is that Charles Leclerc boxes on lap 19 and Lewis Hamilton on lap 36. They both pulled off a one-stop race, and they didn't even attempt to try and undercut anybody to try and get open air. Like, the problem was, the race pace. But it's just because you're stuck behind everybody. Why aren't we changing our strategy to kind of get us some clean air? We can at least see the numbers of where we should be. That was my big takeaway from them.
Or go for the overcut.
Yeah,
it became clear, very early on. Like, again,
was I saying undertake?
Or
did I say undertake?
I thought you said under.
I don't know. Undercut.
I knew you meant undercut.
You knew what I meant.
Yeah. Again, Ocon pits on lap 1 and lap 2. You have plenty of data going into it. There's no reason on lap 19 to pit Ferrari.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. And then, if you're Lewis Hamilton, why are you pitting on lap 36? So you got Leclerc pits on 19 and Hamilton pits on 36. Just stay out. The longer you stay out, the more track position you're gaining.
Right.
And at that point, it is very evident that the undercut is not a thing and the overcut is definitely a thing. So just do that. But
it's rough out here for them, huh?
Yeah, I think it's rough for them. It's rough for a Gabriel Bortoleto and an Ollie Behrman as well. I feel like Ollie Behrman was, probably going to finish in his Ollie Behrman-esque position of P11. But I believe he's the one who got into the tangle with Albon, right?
Yeah.
Am I crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, you're not crazy.
Yeah. So that kind of ruins his race. And instead Bortoleto finishes there. Out qualifies Nico Hülkenberg once again, and it's just you're right there, but you just don't have the car at this point in time. So, I think he's going to walk away a little bit disappointed in that, and thought maybe he might be able to move up a few positions based upon the last couple of races, but yeah, man, hey, at least they are not Alpine.
True.
Your thoughts on Alpine's race?
Yeah, I mean, do they even exist on the grid anymore? Is kind of how I feel. And like I feel bad for Pierre Gasly specifically. I just like the guy, but yeah, Alpine, not great whatsoever. I mean, just a bad qualifying performance. We had Colapinto crash in Q1 at turn 4. Um, Gasly ran off and couldn't get a clean lap in. Like, yeah, it was just issue after issue after issue. And like, yeah, they just didn't really ever have the pace to even compete, right? Like Oscar Piastri, you mentioned, got past I think I think it was both Alpines. He got past both Alpines by the first 5 laps after getting an incredibly delayed start. So yeah, I mean, first 5 turns. Yeah, like the car limitations just were outstanding. Like it doesn't seem to be able to make up for like bad qualifying during the race, and like yeah, the layout of the track just showed a lot of problems with their stability. Like especially like you mentioned the wind earlier, like whenever they were getting any of like the wind gusts, their car just like would behave incorrectly. It had like a weird high speed and low speed mix, and like they just couldn't really manage like their tire wear. Like they're the only ones that kind of struggled with that. And it just seems like they're vulnerable in a lot of those different areas. So I mean, yeah, it's just.
Yeah,
I feel like an Alpine fan's like a Bears fan almost.
So prime for success next year, every year.
Yeah. I wish. Yeah, like. Yeah, ugly.
Yeah, I think that the lack of having a real engine and instead having a go-kart engine kind of reared its ugly head today because they were so slow down the straight.
Yeah.
It just looked like they were crawling while everybody else was running. So,
yeah.
I actually came away impressed with Colapinto though. Like, he qualified in P16. If he hadn't had that crash, I think he had an outside chance of making it into Q2. But and for a decent amount of the race, he was up in 14th position, and then I shouldn't say a decent amount of the race, for a little bit of the race. And he, I think, had a better race overall than Pierre Gasly did this weekend, but just not able to hold on to it. The car's not there. I don't know what you really expect anyone to do. And it is interesting that, Flavio Briatore came out and said it's a dead heat between Colapinto and Paul Aaron for the second seat for next year. So I think the only competition is who's going to bring more sponsorship money. But,
yeah.
Overall, like you got to look at the weekend and go, hey, you know what? Data looks good. We maximized our running for a few laps there, and then the car just fell apart. And at a place where you have to be precise but also very fast, we can't be fast. So,
yeah,
when Pierre Gasly's finishing in 18th, that the car is just, it doesn't suit the circuit. So.
Yeah. Even after the race, Colapinto was like, I was honestly preferring to push rather than like in risking a crash rather than just being safe and not improving. So like he was trying his absolute best. So I gotta give him props for that. Yeah. But I don't know. One race I just wanted to. No, I'm gonna save it. I digress. I'm gonna go back to it. I'm gonna wait till a later portion after we're done with predictions.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to predictions.
Okay.
Insert your own AI generated theme music here.
Nope. I was gonna sing like qualifying podium, last point, I don't know. We need some. This is why we have AI make our music, right? Yeah.
Yeah. We did okay on predictions this weekend. We'll get into it here. So your podium was Verstappen, Sainz, and Antonelli. You got a point for Verstappen. My podium was Verstappen, Sainz, and Russell. So I got a point for Verstappen. I would argue that maybe next year, not this year, but maybe next year we do like half points if you have someone on the podium but in the wrong spot.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
Not this year, obviously. Otherwise, I'd be just absolutely dusting you. I have no idea if that's true. I'm just going to say it. So I got 1 point there. Your last point, you had Alonso. My last point, I forgot you copied me for most of this race.
Yep.
My last point was also Alonso. Who did you have for your last place?
I had Charles Leclerc because I was predicting
he actually was closer.
Yeah, I mean, not too bad. I predicted that he was going to crash, though, so yeah, not too bad.
Yeah. I had Isaac Hadjar, who ended up in 10th, so I was technically closer than you, but Leclerc was closer to last than he should have been.
Yeah.
We both picked up a point on our best bet. I said Verstappen would win, and you said Verstappen win in a safety car. So
try to take that one from me earlier, by the way, everybody.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I lost you. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Brief intermission.
All right. Yeah, brief intermission. Little mic issue there. Wonder if the battery's going on this bad boy. But anyways, I don't know what happened. I blacked out in that part of the race. Apparently it's
Yeah, I mean, at that point of the race, it was tough, but yeah, safety car. You gotta bet on it, especially in the streets of Azerbaijan. But for our long shot bets, this is where the differential comes from. Just so everybody knows, we were tied going into this weekend. We were both sitting at 32 points. I went with a long shot bet of both McLarens to end up in the top 6. Good old Steve went with a long shot bet of a win margin of at least 10 seconds, which I said it was fine the other day, so I have to be okay with it now.
That's totally fine. Why would it not be?
I mean,
I
think you predicted that Max Verstappen was going to have a dominant 2023 victory right now. And like last year, Charles Leclerc 10.9 seconds behind Oscar Piastri. I'm talking about last year. That's 2024.
Safety car last year?
Did it? I don't know. A 10-second gap after safety car is crazy.
But he passed him, and then Checo and was it Sainz? Collided, and it ended under a safety car, I swear is what it was.
Okay, maybe. You're right. But even 2023, Max Verstappen finished 2 seconds after Checo. So I get it. I gave it to you the other day. Maybe I considered and I check those numbers before I say yes in the future.
It's not my fault.
I allowed this to happen.
Yeah, his tires faded in the final laps, and then on the penultimate lap, when a failed pass on Leclerc led to Perez going wheel to wheel with Sainz, they collided in a virtual safety car. So
okay, that's so they neutralized it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but he had super old tires, so that's what it was.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
But I just think when you're predicting safety cars, and there was one, and I told you that he'd still be able to eke out at least 10 seconds.
That was a part of my best bet, though, not a long shot bet.
I know, which means that you're certain that the safety car is going to happen.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I take it back. We're all good. But what I want to know.
Let's move on.
Yeah, best drive, worst drive.
Oh, see, we're going to the same place. All right, my best drive. Quick shout out to Liam Lawson. He was a honorable mention. I think great weekend for him. We kind of talked about it. Also, wanted to give a quick shout out to Max Verstappen. Good job. But it's got to go to Carlos Sainz. Getting the podium for Williams. Yeah. Nothing more to say.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. Carlos Sainz as well. Could have gone to a couple of people. Even maybe sleeper pick George Russell. Good job, my friend. But yeah, Carlos Sainz, have to give it to him. There's just no doubt about it.
All right, then the one that everybody comes for.
Yeah.
Worst drive of the weekend.
I'm giving it to a whole team.
Oh,
I'm giving it to the one, the only, my future team, Aston Martin.
really?
Yeah.
Why worst weekend for Aston Martin?
I just expect more. P15, P17 from Alonso and Lance Stroll. I just think that it's a little problematic. Like, even after the race, Alonso saying, well, yeah, this is just not a good place for us, and this track in the future is not a good place for us, and this track in the future is not a good place for us, and this track in the future is not a good place for us. It's not a good look. And I think this is a bad way to start that. They're currently sitting 10 points behind the Racing Bulls. Racing Bulls are just slowly adding more points on them. Right? So, like, this week, the Racing Bulls getting 11 points, and they're now ahead of Aston Martin in the Constructors' Championship. So I think that's a big deal, right? That's for P6. And for P7, I think that's just a big error for themselves. And it doesn't sound like they're very confident that they're going to be able to close that gap in the future either. So I'm giving it to them, which, yeah, I think is completely fair. Alonso gets a silly penalty for jumping the start because he was paying attention to Oscar Piastri, right? So, like, I get it. But it's just like, yeah, unfortunate, but now we're letting our main opponents get ahead of us in the constructors.
Yeah, listen, that's fair. That is wildly different than I thought you were going to go with it.
Okay.
But I like it. And I thought long and hard about this. I thought about, I was between Piastri essentially and the team of Ferrari. And I really want to go with Piastri, but I think I'm going to go with Ferrari. I think, like, Piastri had a terrible weekend, but again, he got away with it relatively unscathed. Like,
Yeah.
I can't. He had a personally awful weekend driving the car, but results wise, it wasn't that bad for him. So Good on you. And then, so I'm giving it to Ferrari. They dropped to third in the constructor standings. They have shown no real promise to actually figure things out. And I think that, going forward, they are not the favorite for P2 anymore. I think it is Mercedes. They've lost their grip on it. And Mercedes hasn't had a second driver that can actually be relied on for like the last 12 races. Like, Kimi Antonelli was just out in the middle of the desert wandering around. And all of a sudden it was like, oh, hey, Baku, what's up? I guess I'll drive a car. And like, just gets a P4. And it's like, Ferrari, what are you doing? Like, figure it out. You have a world-class driver in Lewis Hamilton and another one in Charles Leclerc who just loves torture and is like, I would never go anywhere but Ferrari. Like, a man loves pain, and he's just like, no, I'll just keep driving here.
Go to Red Bull.
And yeah, and to get 8th and 9th after looking so dominant and talking this big game about, how you're resurgent, the car feels great. I think it's a bad sign. I think that, P2 is slipping away from them. Obviously, it's not gone yet. There's plenty of time for, Kimi to screw up or Mercedes to have bad strategy calls. But I think this was like a disastrous weekend for them. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a good pick from you.
There we go. Thanks, buddy.
Well, Steve, what do we have coming up here?
We are going to do a grab bag of news. So there's been a lot of track contract signings, some statements from Stefano Domenicali that we'll finally get to. We have a new entrant in the FIA president's election. So we can talk about her a little bit and dive into her background. And we have a non-race weekend.
Yay.
That means apple picking, my friend.
Yep.
You're the apple of my eye, though.
Wow. This is great. We always end these things so well and not awkward at all.